Hello everyone, this is Puddnhead. I'm casting this game by my lonesome. It is a game that we played for the 2023 Spring League, and I am playing the Siren in the upper left, and DoctaInsanity is playing the Elementalist in the bottom right. I am going to upload this video both to the tournament, the league list, the playlist, and to the tactics playlist, because there's one part in here that I really want to focus on explaining. So let's get this rocking and rolling. All right, I forget which book I'm playing here. I think I'm playing my animals book. So we see a forge and a pandemonium from an elementalist. That is kind of crazy. I am expecting a bunch of smaller elementals while he gears up a little bit, and then we'll see a bigger elemental or two later on if the pandemonium survives. I'm also, of course, playing Shell with the Siren. It is an excellent way to get your feet wet with the Siren, and I guess I did that on purpose. If memory serves, this is my animal book against his frost book. All right, so he's going to deploy. I'm going to deploy a turtle, and he's going to deploy the amulet, which is a staple of elementalists. And we see ice golems coming out. Those are only 4 mana to play, and this is actually, I'm noticing, really bad for me because a lot of the water creatures have frost plus, so I can't play the tide elementals I have in my book until I've dealt with his frost creatures pretty much. But that's okay. Also, the challenge here is he's going to get a freeze on a 3+, and 1 freeze from the ice golem and 1 damage plus a frost trap is going to kill one of my turtles. So that is pretty dangerous for me because freeze is -2 life. So as long as there's 1 damage on this turtle, the 3 freezes will kill it. And there's a 3+ freeze chance on this guy. So okay. Yep, just playing all my cheap creatures. Gonna do a slow gear up myself, I think, and hopefully have a critical mass to kill this ice golem. The thing about the ice golem is that it is psychic immune, so I cannot use Siren's Call on it. So I have to deal with it normally. I'm gonna move up here and shallow sea so that I can start closing the gap, taking over the middle, and getting plus dice on stuff. These frost elementals only cost him 11, which is kind of insane, and have 23 health, and they are not psychic immune. So I can actually pull them in with the Siren. Get 2 damage and a freeze, so it's at 4 damage right now. And I had a Siren's Call on this to come in here and guard, so that if this guy came in to hit, he would get 5 dice on the rebound, which he did. Actually, he would get 6 dice, but he only got 5 because of the freeze. So that is a tactic that you can do. Of course, Siren's Call can be used on your own creatures, and the Siren's Call effect lasts for returns the marker at the end of the action phase. So I think I moved in and guarded, and then Siren's Called him in order to get plus dice on the counter strike. I'd have to go back and figure that out, but definitely something you could do, because these guys have no armor but a lot of health. So you just need to throw a bunch of dice at them, and they'll crumble eventually. And a bunch of dice is Siren's Call is good for that. So, and this is going to stay on until the end of the next action phase, because I did put it on afterwards, which is nice. So now he's got a hit this turn, at plus dice, and I can then use it to call in my snake and get plus dice on my snake too. So I might be able to ice this guy or de-ice this guy, defrost this guy. I don't know, whatever. I might be able to kill him. I might be able to do 8 damage. If I get 5 dice here, 4 dice there, 8 damage is probably an acceptable outcome. And if I can keep pumping my creatures out and killing his creatures, that's good, because it does not cost me an action to cast creatures, and it does cost the Elementalist actions to cast creatures. Even though he gets that big discount, if I can just kill things fast enough, I can win this. I'm also very worried about freeze. Like, he could, during the quick cast, put a freeze frost trap on this guy and then he'd be dead, and that would not be good for me. So I believe I do life tree this turn, which is going to save him from a frost trap, because now he has 9 health. All right, he 2 dice and nothing, so that was nice for me. And he's going to attack that for 5 dice, and I am going to get the 6 damage in and lose the freeze, which is the most important thing. Get that freeze off of there as fast as I can. Yep, here comes the frost on my Siren. Yep, getting the 2 freezes. And then I'm going to use my Siren to Siren's Call the Snake, because the snake can get plus 2 dice now too. There's a deep freeze. Yep, that makes sense. It's going to Seeking to Spell my Hawkeye, which, fine, I don't need that. We're going to try and kill this ice golem, and there it is. Siren's Call goes back to my Siren, and it's looking pretty good for me right now. If I can get a guard on, just rotate which thing is guarding, and then do damage to the Frost Elemental, then I might be able to pull this out. So I'm going to move out and Siren's Call the Frost Elemental so that he can't kill any of my creatures, because I need creature advantage. And it looks like he's going to replace. Yeah, that's right. He did this mean old trick, got rid of my Shallow Sea so that I didn't get extra dice on stuff. And then he's able to move out with impunity. I'm not. So I'm going to move my Rotting creature in with the Elementalist and see if I can do damage there. But I think I forgot that he was going to resonance this guy. And that is enough to kill it, except there's a life tree out. So then I'm going to try and be like, okay, I can keep this guy busy, and then I can make it so that you've got stuff to deal with. I didn't have enough to replace the Tundra with my Shallow Sea, but I can give him Hindered and get my creatures +1. So he's got to leave, or let's see, what do we got here? Planning phase. Yep. Okay. Do you have any glyphs active? No. All right. Teleportation scrolls. That's a good one. So he's got to get his creature game going. Otherwise, he's not going to survive this. I'm going to pull that guy away from doing any damage to my stuff because I don't want those 2 freezes. Those 2 freezes are death for my guys. And we're debating freeze. Freeze only does -1 die, period. If you have a freeze, you get -1 die. And you have lumbering. Each freeze is -2 life. And you remove 1 of them when you activate. So we figure that out. All right, so 2 more damage. Turtle rolls blanks. Yeah, they had a bug in this game where I couldn't activate the toads. And we seeking to spell whatever that was. Nullify. Okay. Now it is my initiative, and I see he is free of enchantments, and I can get rid of that teleportation scrolls because don't likey. And Tundra was not automated to prevent melting in its adjacent zones like it does. So we had to correct that over the course of the game. He decided he didn't want to be pushed. That's an interesting choice. Maybe ran into some tsunamis. And I want to use that snake as quickly as I can. So that he doesn't have any freeze tokens on him. I'll try and get a rot off. If I can get a rot off on the Elementalist, then that's a win for me. More Fraugs. Elemental male. So he's up at 3 armor. Pretty good place to be. I'm, of course, at 0 armor, which is not great. Get rid of his teleportation scrolls because that thing cost him 6 spellbook points and it's going to wreck my plans. So I got rid of it with 1 dissolve. That is why I took teleportation scrolls out of my Elementalist. And of course he comes in and whacks me. Missed the rot. He's going to use resonance. And that's a dead snake. That's a dead snake. He's going to try and kill my turtle. He does get 2 freeze, but it's not quite enough because he got no regular, or he only got regular damage. He's going to try and kill the turtle. He does get the freeze, and that is only 8 damage. Those turtles having 4 armor is pretty insane. And we're going to That's right. That was a lullaby. Oh, he's gonna. Oh, and there's a rot on him. Right. That snake got a rot. So that is a something that I will eventually win. I will eventually win if he can't get rid of that rot. Assuming I don't take more damage in the process. He probably has a cure or a wand of healing or something in there. Although I think I have like 6 snakes, so be a lot of rots. Probably there's a regrowth belt coming off this turn, I would guess. Yep, there it is. More snakes. Less quicksand. If you get that reference, you can put it in the comments. And yes, that's how old I am. So the days works. I move away to get away from beamage of frostage. He's just gonna drop Iron Golem. I'm trying as hard as I can to get damage on this Elementalist. This is where I'm all in and trying to get out. Trying to get all that damage on before his bigger creatures just start one-shotting my creatures. Got the stun. That's helpful. And of course, Rust. Rust is a staple Siren spell. Now, I have made the unfortunate error of putting all of my creatures in one zone. So this could potentially be very bad against somebody like the Elementalist, who now has 11 mana and could firestorm the whole lot of them if you felt like it. But he decides he's just going to frozen tundra them in there. So it's going to take them a whole action to get out. So I'm just like, okay, I don't really want to play this game right now. I can save up mana. I can replace his tundras with my shallow seas, and I can take the board back over. So I'm just going to kill this creature that is out here. I'm going to ignore the Elementalist. This golem is slow, so he's not going to get to me. So I'm going to back off. And he's not going to voluntarily move into either of these zones. I've got a shallow sea. And I had originally thought I was going to replace this tundra, I think, and then move my guys in. But I get another stun. This lullaby did an extreme amount of work this game. So I'm going to keep it on there in the hopes that if I don't kill it, it'll prevent it from doing damage to my guys again. Now, the Elementalist is far enough away that I'm not too worried about being zone attacked anymore. So I'm going to pile them all in here. That being said, he could tsunami. which would be utterly hilarious. But I figured at this point I had enough creature mass, enough critical creatures that I could just kill anything he sent at me and win the long game. There's another Frost Elemental, so that's good for him. And this is where I explained that he could use his Pandemonium to revivify him. Or what is it called? Reanimate. So I have to double check where it shows up again. He's going to move in here, and I still have a lot of creatures attacking. And we've done half the damage here, and I've got a stabby sword, and I do a little bit of stabby. And of course, the Iron Golem is unmovable, so even if I roll a push, which I didn't, I wouldn't be able to push him. Now, there have been a couple times this game where the Ethereal Life Tree has saved one of my creatures. And if you're going to run a level 1, level 2 swarm like this, seriously consider Ethereal Life Tree. Because right now it's worth 18 health on all my creatures. Including my mage. More turtles. Elemental wand. And I'm going to guard with my guys so that my mage can't get hit. Jet stream. I'm going to move back in where my guard is, using my mage's action. And we're going to, I believe that's a Chant of Rage or another lullaby. Might be another lullaby. Guarding with the toads because they have the most health. So the freeze, they can absorb some freezes. try so hard to kill this thing. And then get myself a guard again because it's going to be his initiative. So I want him to have to hit something that isn't damaged. And that's a daze. And at this point, he's got to be thinking, if I send anything in there, it's just going to die. So I need to try and pick things off, back up, use my wand, separate stuff, try and get it killed, maybe even get a zone something going on. And I saved up enough mana to get a crocodile out, which is good for me. And he plays all of poison gas. And I'm just like, okay, how's that going to save us? But then he moves his guy right through there. And of course, it's non living, so the poison attack doesn't do anything. And I attack it. I'm getting nothing. And he's not even coming in. He's just going to stay right there and hope to heal up his guys. So I need to get through this wall somehow. And I push that guy through the wall with a force push so that I can start attacking. And this is where, okay, if I pause this, I don't think DoctaInsanity remembered that he could pass or didn't really want to pass. If he had passed and used this guy last, I wouldn't have had all these attacks on it. I probably would have pushed this guy through at some point and just said, okay, I'm going to try and kill this guy with what I have left. But that's, yeah. Remember to pass. If you don't need to do something, pass. Always consider whether or not passing is the best option. Because the later you can do something, the more permanent that something is. And the same's going to go for this round. This round, I'm going to plan to Siren's Call this guy and then move in here. And then he's got to run in and get murdered. So but see, DoctaInsanity is down to 5 damage now because that regrowth belt. But it's only 5 damage, or it's still 5 damage because there's that rot. So the regrowth is only actually healing him 1 each turn. And that rot has been on him for a good, what, 6, 7 rounds? And I don't really want to move into this tundra because I know he's got something on this wand, and it's probably range 2, and I don't particularly want him to move forward and ice something, ice beam something, and then have it die to frozen tundra. So I need to save up and replace this tundra with the sea and then run at him. An acid ball on me, which I have no armor, so it's just going to do 6 damage. So now I have 23 mana, and now I am planning to replace this frozen tundra so that I can surprise run all of my creatures in here. And I have several hurt creatures, so I'm going to get a healing magical going as well. And he's got some gearing up for some attacking here. He's throwing a boulder at my mage, which is an excellent plan. I only have 32 health, but unfortunately he rerolls and gets less damage. So that should have been at least 7 or 8, 9 damage there, and only took 4. That would have put me at half. And then I'm going to shallow sea there, 13, and move a turtle in. So now he doesn't have free reign. He has to move 1. Can't move 2. And what I'm doing right now is I'm going to move all of my hurt creatures into one zone and all of my healthy creatures into another zone. And then I'm going to healing magical as my last action in the zone where the things are hurt. And that was illegal because it's range 0 to 1. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to put a healing magical on my crocodile, and all these guys will stay at the same damage. Which is nice for me, and I didn't move up because I didn't want to be in the poison gas cloud. And I can from out of that, so it'll, as soon as I get out of here, alas, they'll start healing. Now I'm close enough to him with the other guys that I can at least get some damage in. So it's looking like I'm just gonna eventually win this game. And he says, "Yeah, I'm not good enough because I'm gonna stay back here with this mage and just send these guys forward." But the important thing I wanted to point out was knowing when to switch gears, because I was focused on getting some stuff done to the mage. The mage was getting away from me, and I got enough critical mass to get his creatures down without losing mine in too much, without losing mine too much. And the pandemonium was gone. And at that point, I knew that he wasn't going to be casting too many more creatures, and I could just win the creature game that way. So yeah, the shallow sea did not help him with the tundra stuff. I wasn't able to play non-living because he was going to do extra damage to them. But the life tree pulled me through, and I had enough little creatures that it worked out. In that situation, it may have been good for him to yeah, it may have been good for him to kill the shell, because then I would have had to spend my own actions on that instead of other actions. So there, yeah. Thanks for joining me for Taxis Puddnhead. Hope everybody enjoyed that game. It wasn't exactly high energy cast, I guess. So sorry about that. I'll try and do better next time. Bye.